Previously on Follow the Leader.
Today we're playing Protocol by Jim Pinto and Post World Games. For those of you who are new to this game, here are the basics. Protocol is a series of story role-playing games that thrust characters into dramatic situations. Each game uses the same set of rules with vastly different parameters, start points, characters, and finales. Players take on the roles of directors outside the action and characters inside the action, using the ebb and flow of 4 different scene framing styles, vignettes, interrogations, interludes, and ensembles to tell meaningful stories about characters in crisis. We'll be using a custom playset that's set... well, you'll see.
I will be reprising the role of Marius, Thank the Gods for Small Favors, who uses they-them pronouns. They're still kicking around in the City of Gulls, although they're a bit older now. I don't know if they're necessarily a bit wiser, but
I hope not.
Statistically, it's unlikely.
Yeah. They've got a streak of gray in their hair. It looks very distinguished. It looks a little at odds with the streak of black in their hair, but that's okay. They still probably dress very formally and very reminiscent of their title of The Last Mage of Anukar.
So I'll be playing a character new to the City of Gulls, though not new to our listeners, Juniper Aurelius, a stranger to these parts, an older, dark-skinned black woman with silvery white hair, a gnarly scar from an old surgery perpetually peeping out of the top of every low-cut shirt she insists on wearing.
I am going to be playing a character new to FTL entirely. I am playing Experimental Verisimilitude Model 17, they/it pronouns, a robot, brassy, think TikTok from Return to Oz, but like stretched vertically, so not as squat or quite as round. But yes, has a crossbody satchel with a journal inside it, has I know this is kind of ripping off Bender from Futurama, but has an openable chest cavity, which holds some very well secured vials and experimental equipment within.
I am also playing a character both new to FTL and incoming to the City of Gulls. I am playing Keys, that's K-E''S. It uses its pronouns and also she, her, because I keep imagining it as I keep accidentally using those pronouns, so I think that it is like fine with the people referring to it with she, her pronouns. Mostly a robot android person. I don't have any like strict touchstones for its appearance.
Tell the people who you are, Zachary.
Well, to start, I must tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a very big man. He was the strongest and the coolest of the old people who were also all very big, until he was the last one because he was stronger and cooler than all of them. And then he was dead. And then some kids found his soul in a little sphere. And they talked to it. And they said, this guy is so cool. We need to get him out of there. And so they brought him to his bones. And they gave a little bit of blood. And it made an egg. And from that egg came me, Rascal the Brave.
I think this is the moment in which I spend another drama point to say that, like, Marius probably walks out too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Marius hears Zephyr say, now, how the hell did he do that one?
I'm gonna make it into a boat.
I love the notion that Rascal works on Looney Tunes logic and just, you didn't see it happen, it just happened off screen.
Keys, I think, walks up to the train car, and kind of like puts both of its hands on the car and says, "Oh," and then launches itself into that train car, baby.
No, it's mine. Finders keepers. It runs inside after.
Incredible.
Because Mac just realized that you could probably MacGyver something together with this with the front of a subway car. In this world, the ports probably match.
Mm-hmm. And Rascal was gonna use the engine, but he kind of just build it into like the engine room of a new boat. This is a bit more in advance than a raft of logs, but he's a quick study.
I think he's is kind of kind around the console and then sticks its head out the window and says, "Well, maybe you don't have to go that far."
Well, heck, come on. I just got the thing. Come on. We gotta go somewhere.
I'm not going to take this from you, my friend.
No, but you're taking away an opportunity.
Am I?
Well, because if we don't have to go, then why am I get the thing?
I'm trying to figure out how Keys is saying it. How Keys says this. I think she says something like, "Well, no
one's stopping you."
I'm certainly not stopping you from leaving. Just a little delay for a while. Does Juniper come up into the train car to see what Keys is talking the fuck about?
Oh, yeah, no. On seeing the, partial train car and engine, this is the most modern tech she's obviously seen here, so she's all about it.
We now return to your game already in progress.
But yeah, depending on how important it is that information be recovered, we might be able to do a port to port, maybe we find a jump cable or a connector and are able to plug keys into the train rather than remove something from it and do a diagnostic or something and then work out what's what and what can be removed without damaging things further.
How
when you test a circuit.
How married is Keys to this bot? Keys, do you want to be the spirit of my train boat?
Keys very much likes having a body. Yes.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is Keys' original body that has been modified and it's now mostly metal, but the bits of Keys that are flesh and blood are Keys' original body. Yes, Keys wants to keep it.
Ed would be the better person to ask.
Yeah, I don't, but that guy's kind of a dick.
You have no idea. Me gently dragging Schrag's character for all he's worth because Ed Park deserves it.
All right. Yeah, that's my I guess that's my last scene.
Sick.
All right. I got 2 hearts. Hearts being an interlude. And let me see which one I want to be the scene and which one I want to be the location. Because I got the 6 and the queen.
Yeah, the hearts location is the inner sanctum, broken healing, which is pretty dope.
Oh. So the scene type for the Queen of Hearts is those who linger, those we lose. And the location for 6 is safe only for a moment. So I feel like that's definitely still in Marius's abode, for lack of a better term. And the question is, who is the interlude with? Because we've all got, we're all here, so there could be an excuse for anybody. I mean, the obvious choice is XV/Edward, but I don't want to exclude other people. What if this is with Juniper?
It certainly can be. I'll be doing the next scene.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I feel bad going back to Edward. Like I said, I don't want to
Like, I would happily have another interlude with you. Okay. But then both of your scenes in the session have been interludes with Ed.
Yeah, that's the
and I
thing.
don't want that to feel bad for you.
No, that doesn't feel bad for me. Like I said, I just don't want to, if other people want to interact with Marius, now's a good time.
Well, do we want to resolve this arc?
That's a good point. Yeah, let's...
Is this where things kick off?
Yeah, let's try to resolve this. So I think this is probably later, and I think Marius definitely looks conflicted as they look towards XV and Ed. And is Ed still in control, or does Marius need to summon him again?
Let's say he still is.
Okay. And Marius says, we have some options, some that I find more appealing than others, but ultimately it is your fate. Do you wish to stay where you are? Do you wish to be separated from this form? Or do you wish to leave?
This arrangement isn't tenable. I know that much. If I stay within XV, we're going to damage each other to the point where neither of us can survive.
Then that is not an option, so that leaves us with 2 ways that we can try to go. And Ed can tell that there's something Marius isn't saying, but I don't think that he knows what that would be.
You know, a ghost who told me that ghosts aren't real asked if I wanted to be exorcised. I'm not sure that I know what happens to ghosts once they are exorcised.
Marius, wait, hold on a second. Say that one, run that by me one more time.
Yeah, Marius looks a little surprised and says, "Did they now?"
I'll spend one of my numerous drama points to have Zephyr chip in at this point, because that's fucking funny as hell. And I appreciate a good story. So yeah, hero point spent. Zephyr can interact with this conversation as much as they see fit.
Fabulous. I think Zephyr very petulantly says, "I'm right."
Marius is a little perturbed and says, "Well then, all that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. If you have something to say, then by all means say it." Which, as I recall, is Zephyr's current summoning name.
Yep, that is in fact their current summoning name. And I think like, Zephyr is, like, perched on top of a bookshelf, looking strangely more Annabelle than not. And it's like, man, you don't have to yell. I'm right here.
It's like, damn, Mom used my full name. I must really be in trouble.
Well, I can't say I find that name encouraging, per se.
It is what it is.
And whose fault is that?
Marius takes a deep breath in and is just like, there's no need to litigate this.
God.
All right. So, if ghosts aren't real, but they can be exorcised, or they can be bound to a place or an object, as I said, that leaves us 2 options. And I think this is the point where Marius gets very quiet and says, I do not relish the idea of continuing to be the last of us, for whatever that is worth to you.
Oh, and you think I like the idea of you being the last?
Marius scowls.
Marius, I'm already dead. I've been dead for years. I would like to use whatever afterlife I've been granted to help you in whatever way that appears. Whether it's to stay bound to you, to force you to make the right decision every now and again, or bound to this engine to help these strangers find answers.
You said yourself that you would destroy each other if you stayed bound to the experimental verisimilitude, Model 17. And as much as I do not necessarily wish for you to be bound to me in particular, I feel like that may be our best option. I know the means to keep your summoning name just as I keep Zephyr's summoning name.
You'll have to be quick about it. I know you don't want to hear that, but you'll have to be quick before... And she kind of, like, looks at where I think Edward is, which is, like, not where XV is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like before someone else gets to him first.
All right. And I don't think the camera sees exactly what happens next, but I also think that this is a painful process for both Edward and Marius. And I think the scene ends with Marius drawing some sigils on the floor near where Edward is, and that's where we cut the scene.
Hell yeah.
Woo.
All right. Again. Fuck me sideways.
Oh boy.
We're getting down to the end of the deck. Do we want to just recall all the cards and reshuffle them so we have more options?
Sure, we can do. I'm not averse to that.
Okay.
That was three spades in a row, wasn't it?
Yeah, let's just reshuffle the deck, because we've got 7 cards left. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, that's technically enough to get us through, but...
We could finish, but...
I've recalled,
Yeah.
I've shuffled.
All right.
You're gonna get 2 spades again.
No.
No,
I
you
did
didn't.
not. So I've got the 9 of hearts and the 6 of clubs. I suppose hearts works better.
Wow, this is really good setup, Jade.
Hearts, 9 of hearts is an interlude, touching the veil, and 6 of clubs is in the wild, deep and dark, safe only for a moment, or it could be a vignette, against the tide, and the inner sanctum, broken healing, with cold crystal. No, yes, cold crystal light. I'm going to do the interlude, but because we're getting to the last round and we talked about it happening, I will spend some drama points because I want to have this scene where Juniper goes to visit 2 very old people.
Sure. I can to save you some drama points. I can spend 1 to have a character be
Okay,
there.
cool. So Zephyr let it slip like Zephyr does stuff accidentally. For whatever Zephyr's reasons, they informed Juniper that the easiest to find old people in the city, and directs her to the lighthouse. I assume it's...
I think what it actually is, Jade,
please, lay it on me.
is that Zephyr tells the 2 old people, and Juniper gets tapped on the shoulder by a tall person with dark red hair that has been braided back, and the braid is draped over one shoulder. It is now quite longer than it was the last time we saw them.
I was going to say,
Who says...
I think they're of a height,
Yeah.
Sable and Juniper. Because Juniper's like
Okay.
6 foot tall.
Yeah, Sable is around the same. So, but I stand by saying tall.
Oh, yeah. The vibe is tall.
Who says to her, I heard you were looking for me. Well, us.
Camera pulls back to reveal even taller person.
I don't know if Steady came with them. Sable is going to be like, come have tea with us.
All right. So yeah, and then the camera cuts to whatever space maybe you want to describe, Mac, as Juniper has tea with Sable and Steady.
So this is like, I think that there is a lighthouse on the cliff overlooking the ocean that is in the process of being, like, rebuilt. Like, it had, like, a chunk of it taken out, so it's not exactly operational. But if you look at it, you would recognize it as a lighthouse. And they're just, like, on the first floor. I think Sable makes tea. It's not nearly as good as the peonies was, even 20 years later, but it's pretty okay. And Steady is there too, right? Yes?
Yeah. So, did you bring anything for us? A gift, some sort of tribute, something to go with the tea?
I don't need it.
I mean, we could at least have biscuits, scones.
We have biscuits, Steady.
Yeah, but not from her.
Jennifer digs through her, but I think she's gone through all the food. Oh wait, no, she doesn't eat. Never mind. She doesn't need to eat. I think she says, I'm sorry, if I'd known I was going to be invited to tea, I would have made something. I don't eat anymore. So I tend to forget.
That's sad.
I can eat. My body doesn't need it. So it's sort of just going through the motions.
Can you taste it?
Yeah.
Then it is sad.
You're a dour chap, aren't you?
I'm not the one who's giving up food.
I didn't give up food. I died, and so I don't need it.
Everybody needs flavor.
Sable comes over with the tea at this point.
I think, and I'm wary of doing this too much, given Zach and I are both white people, but also the fact that this is Juniper and Steady, who are two very much black people, just like, bitch, you need flavor in your life. And Juniper's like, are you calling me fucking bland? I will fight you. How dare you? Just, it's very funny to me. I'm just saying. I'm doing a lot of hand stuff, don't mind me. And I'm just like, my life is not without flavor. For ever definition of life we're using here. Anyway.
You're upright.
Yeah.
And you're alive.
Okay.
I love him so
He's
much.
great. We love Steady in this house. So
yeah, Steady's still in armor, can't take it off. But probably is more comfortable in it, maybe.
Yeah.
He's got this like really hard, like heavy duty reinforced chair that he can lean back in.
They definitely. Now I'm imagining this fucking sitcom episode of them, of Sable and Steady trialing a bunch of chairs.
yeah, Sky gets involved. It's very fun.
Yeah, he's at leisure now.
Very good. But yeah, so Sable's bringing the tea over. Juniper happily accepts a cup. Enjoys the warmth of it as more than anything. And says, so if you heard I was looking for you, then that must make you two much older than you look.
I was going to say impressive.
You look like you don't need anybody to tell you nice things about yourself. You look very self-assured.
I don't think we even know. And this is not Sable talking. This is Mac talking. I'm like, do we even know which one of them is older? I think Steady is, actually.
So I think Steady's older because Solara.
You're dating my fake
Fake?
like nephew?
How?
My like
you?
my stepchild.
Yeah,
once
I was
removed.
gonna say it's your Sky is your is your sort of stepchild.
Also, sort of like yes. I suppose it's complicated, but yeah, I would say Solara was out of the picture before. I feel no. Did we talk about? We cannot get into the metaphysics of Solara of who died when. That's that.
We can, but we're not doing it at this
Let
point.
us know in the Discord server if you want to just have a round table where we chat about like the gods and the history and all the stuff.
I'm gonna let you know in the Discord right now.
Yeah.
Let's just play Microscope.
Fuck.
Anyway. It's just like so. Yes, I came to this city because death isn't working right here. This world. To be fair, this was just the point at which I arrived.
First I've heard of it.
I think Sable gives Steady this withering
Look, I was
look.
going to say, yeah, Juniper is like, and how old are you?
Stopped counting after 1,000.
Yeah, death is definitely acting normally then.
He's kind of in a different position, though, than I am, to be fair.
Okay, so what's the situation here?
Well, he's an immortal paladin, and I just can't die.
I was going to say I don't do anything I don't want to do.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, you sound like someone I know.
Let's put it this way. He won't die, and I can't.
Right. But you're exceptions to the rule, I assume? Because people do die here. It's just their souls don't cross.
No, they don't. And that's...
What?
No, they... Steady, did you miss that?
I'm not a death guy.
That was the whole point of me walking away from her. Because people kept dying. And their souls were... It was why I was so worried about what Marius was getting up to. All those years ago, with the temple. Because if they weren't careful, she would consume them.
But we took care of the temple.
We took care of the temple, but I don't think it quite worked. But I don't know. And
Well, apparently it didn't, because this young lady
Squints at you.
was here.
Because Juniper definitely looks older than Steady. Even if he is over
Yeah.
1,000 years. Well over 1,000 years old.
I think Sable, like, glances over and is like, everyone's young to him.
Mm.
If it's enough of a problem that she came from wherever she's from, then it's enough of a problem for us to deal with.
Yes, it is. And Sable turns back to Juniper and says, we haven't seen anything to tell us one way or another since that instant. So,
Which was how long ago? Give or take? I appreciate time can get a little bit... Speaking from experience, I know time can be a little bit hard to track.
Between 5 and 20.
Something around there, yes. Lean more towards the high end of that range.
Right.
We'll say 16 and a half.
Sure, that works for me.
So, if I got this right, given the conversations I've managed to have with Marius and yourselves, and doesn't quite know how to describe the situation with Zephyr or with Edward, as much as she understands it. And then there's Keys, who is both a robot and a person, who... Look, the reincarnated cat boy is the most easy to understand with the memory of previous lives. That's the easy one to digest, mentally speaking. So my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that whatever deity connected or whatever personification, manifestation of death in this world was running rampant and is the reason why souls don't cross.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
Okay.
Are you from the other side?
I sort of like smile because that Sable's got it. It's like, we have something like this here. We have something like this there. And I pat the wall. I can see it.
A lighthouse?
Which is fucking weird, because it's nowhere near any water.
Pity. For, as I understood it, for much of my existence, there wasn't another side.
There was stories for a long time, but that's all they were. Stories.
Yes, if there was somewhere I could go and find, well, suffice to say, I would be there.
I'm not a theologian. I'm an engineer. All I can tell you is with my perspective on things and what I've come to learn since being dead. And some friends of mine and myself did some rearranging of bureaucracy and sort of burned the system to the ground.
Sable does not say this. I think Sable smiles in a very satisfied way, because that's very Afiel.
Yeah.
and like
Oh,
takes a like basically all but says, "Cheers, I'll drink to that, bro."
Yeah, I mean, said he does raise his glass and says, "Well, that's what you've got to do."
The afterworld is complicated and is linked to many places. Really, I don't want to say it was a purely academic curiosity that brought me here, but it seemed so strange that of all the places that should, by all rights, have some kind of soul traffic, didn't. So I crossed the ocean between. Try and find out.
What have you found out?
What I just told you.
Yeah, Sable says presumably that death is fucking broken, Steady.
There's something to do with how people's understanding of how death is here is shaping it somehow. This belief that there are no such thing as ghosts and that souls aren't real and that death is somebody that can be destroyed. Stories, right? I think that it's possible that the beliefs of the people here are holding in place the structure. Like a broken bone that's healed incorrectly.
So what, we should change their minds?
I mean, normally if you want to fix a bad break, you re-break the bone and then you reset it.
But
Well,
how to do it without re-breaking the world?
the world's resilient.
Look, you two have like hero vibes all over you. No offense. I'm an engineer. I build and maintain and look after robots and make sure that, or help make sure that the self-appointed head of one section of the afterworld doesn't go round the bend completely. I can help make a join from the other side maybe, but I can't fix this for you. I can only offer the outside perspective.
Which is needed. No, I wouldn't ask you to fix this for us. Just
It's also, I don't know how you would.
Well, you came from across the sea. Obviously, we just need to build a bridge.
You know what? That's a really practical solution.
Steady's a really practical guy.
Clearly, I look at the guy who, as far as I can just tell, is lounging in plate armor because I don't know the situation. So I'm like, yeah, that's a real practical looking guy right there.
I think the armor, you would probably be able to see what buckles there are like fused and like melted.
Sure.
It's like it might be it might, I mean, to an engineer,
yeah, maybe like
be obvious that like it's.
I'm also like possibly not making a point not to stare, especially if he's in like leisure mode. We don't have to keep ramping this scene on. Maybe it sort of like fades to black as Juniper talks to these very wise, very old people about what there could maybe be done.
Yes. And maybe we'll see some of that work down the line.
Mac yelling in the chat about how I unintentionally sequel hooked real good.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Can't believe you've done this.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, you'll have to come back. Oh no. I'm gonna have to play more games with Mac. Ugh. Awful. Truly awful. All right.
Oh no, I have to play in the City of Goldsmore. What a fucking travesty.
Oh no. Anyway, Schrag, draw some cards, my love.
Alright. I am drawing cards, although I suspect I might just use a drama point to change the scene. What I have drawn is Ace of Hearts and 5 of Diamonds. I think it's a bit late in the session to do Interlude of Strangers Drawn Closer, personally.
Perhaps.
That might just be me. The other card would be Interrogation, the Rattling of Old Bones.
I mean, I've got a wild-ass pitch for you.
Yeah?
If you want, I'll play XV17 for you.
Ha. Honestly, because we're getting close to time, I was just gonna do a vignette.
Beautiful. Love that.
So let me take a quick look at the locations this would be. Yeah, the Inner Sanctum, Broken Healing, Black Sand Between Bare Toes, and I'm just gonna switch to a vignette. Real quick. So, yeah, as this conversation of great import is happening between Sable and Steady and Juniper, we cut briefly to Marius's home, where the newly bound ghost of Edward Empty Parks and Spring is busying himself, just kind of adjusting. Death is broken, and this is not how things should be, but he's going to make the best use of the time he can. And elsewhere, XV17, not much the wiser, is reviewing its journal of experiments yet to be completed, work yet to be done, and sees a new entry. And is now between options of what it should do next and where it should go.
Dig it.
Oh, yeah.
Love that.
Oh, is it me?
Yep.
And then a finale.
The end of all.
Which I have to remember how we do finales in this fucking game.
It's been a minute. Okay, so I got the 10 of Spades and the 8 of Hearts. 10 is echoes of ancient battles. Spades is ensemble. Hearts is the inner sanctum, broken healing. And 8 is transitory spaces, or it's a interlude with the Stones Remember and Revelation Seeking Understanding in the Shadow of Bones.
That's so good for Rascal, both of those given the Echo game and the established.
Yeah.
It's good.
What do you all think?
I mean, I suppose it depends on where you want. I know we're getting the finale vignettes as well, so I suppose it's like what, because this is going to be the last time we're hearing him speak. So I suppose it's like, what tone do you want to? Is this when he gets? Is this him ready to leave? Is this him preparing to leave? And what does that look like? Or is it more like making a choice to stay a little longer?
Okay. Is Keys able to use the train to like get her memory in place?
I think it uncorrupts some of them, but there's definitely still gaps. It's not a perfect fix for everything.
It makes sense. Like, if there are memory sticks missing, then there's some information, like what it has might be able to be cleared up, but that doesn't mean there aren't still gaps, and maybe that becomes like off in search of whoever has those.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys is like is that like Keys knows which stick is like the like really important stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
its name, where it came from, like the core memories, as it were, or what of them are left, and like is able to label the sticks that it has to be like, okay, this one has like short-term memory, like don't pull this one. This one has like some stuff that is like okay if it gets a little corrupted, so like if you need to prove a point, like you can rip this one out. Like stupid
I
shit
really
like
like the visual of Juniper like drawing out with keys like a map of like the ports and then labeling each, so it's always in her book to refer to.
Yeah, it's like a separate page that's like tucked into the front pocket of the journal so that she can move it from like when she switches like journals. So yes, that's my answer.
Sure. Okay. Well, then I guess it's okay. So it's the inner sanctum, broken healing, and it is transitory spaces. Okay. Rascal is in an ensemble, so anyone can be here. Rascal is in a has been pulling more stuff up from the depot, like pieces like metal scrap and stuff. It's like, well, making rafts did not work super well, and I need something sturdy to hold this engine that I've gotten. So I need better materials. He is like carrying stuff up and out. And I think as he goes, there's just this huge pile of stuff on the beach. Like the train engine, there's the pieces of metal, there's like trees that he has cut down and like is like putting into like planks and beams. And he goes around to people and he asks, where do you want to go? Where's the best place to go? That isn't here, because here is good, but there's other places, and you need to know all of them. He goes to Keys, and he says, "Hey, you've been to many places. Is this the last place you are going to go?"
I don't think so. All the places I've been have changed over the years.
You want to go across the ocean? Or see what is up and down the coast with me?
I mean, I could. I was going to stay here a little longer.
Well, I still need to build this fucking boat.
It's definitely going to be a boat then.
I mean, I was thinking I could give it arms and legs. Maybe, like you can crawl around on the ground and pedal like a little kitty kit in the water. It can be anything. And anything could be out there. You just don't know.
Anything is out there.
Everything is out there.
Exactly.
I could put wheels on it if you want.
No. Well, if you want to put wheels on it, you can. I won't stop you.
The only thing it's not going to have is a track. No one's going to tell us where to go except for us. Do you want to join my crew?
Why not?
Okay. Well, then you're going to have to help me build the boat, because I've got this thing, and I don't think you would understand, where sometimes my memories are confused, and my dreams are strange, and it's hard to tell what order they all came in.
Oh, yeah. I get that too.
I remember bits of making boats, but we should get Juniper to do it. She's smart, and she owes me a duel.
Juniper, as it's an ensemble, just like sort of like heading down onto the beach. Maybe this is after. I don't know how long I've been talking to the olds.
to the old gossipers who live up on the
Yeah,
cliff.
to those two old weirdos that
Mhm.
just talk and talk and talk to each other, or they just sit in silence and seem to be communicating mind to mind. God, the Jaeger
Mhm.
piloted by Steady and Saber would be so amazing. Just fucking rock solid.
Mhm.
Anywho, and sort of Juniper's approach is just like, I would have offered to help with the boat regardless of the duel. You're the one that challenged me. We don't have to do that.
Well, I mean, it's a matter of honor.
You think you'll lose? I don't care about losing honor.
Well, but you should still try.
Really?
Yes. At all times, all of our efforts must be directed towards the things we want and the things we have promised to do.
Juniper is just like smiling because there is something about his earnestness and his passion. And it's not, guilelessness feels like the wrong word here, as does naivety, but it's that lack of jadedness, that, I suppose, that youth
Mm-hmm.
as well, but it is tempered by stuff that Juniper can't help but like, oh, well, when you put it like that, it sounds very reasonable.
Well, tell you what, if you are forfeiting,
Uh-huh. If.
you could pay your debt in a different way. We could use an engineer,
Uh-huh.
own the ship.
You want me to go with you?
I mean, you're like a smart person. You got this kind of thing where like people will say things and you're like, that's bullshit.
I do that.
Mhm. It's important, for negotiations and adventures and such.
Maybe a little while. But I have a home I've got to go back to.
Yeah, we'll get there.
You promised me.
We'll get near there.
Now, this one's insistent that he's
There is
gonna
no one.
show up there. Have you,
Oh,
Roscoe, have you spent much time chatting to Big and Stern up at the lighthouse?
Oh, steady as it goes. If it comes, it will come. No, it's kind of boring.
Well, a little bit stuck in his ways, yeah, I suppose.
I think this is really funny to me. I think Keys like hears that name, like flips it through her journal, and it's like, wait, the Paladin of the Sun God is here?
He's like fine. He's like,
Oh.
he makes me do my calisthenics.
Sun God, that makes sense, because armor's all like melted in places.
Yeah. He I mean, it was kind of tragically poetic. He like embraced her as she died and held her so close that his armor fused together into a carapace that could never be sundered.
And I think Keys nods and goes, "Yeah, he was married to her. It was very sweet."
He was this play, and like Juniper just takes a walk down the beach. Just like, you know what?
See, this is all this stuff that's like all here and kind of passé to me. Imagine what's just out
Like, just
there.
like the 1,000-year-old immortal paladin. Yeah, sure, paladins. And just like, so he was married to the sun. Okay. I should do.
Mhm.
But yes,
And then I'm gonna go to Marius, and I'm gonna say, Marius, do you want to join my crew?
Marius actually looks genuinely contrite and says,
Wow, that might be a
I
first.
didn't know their face could do that.
yeah, but the thing is, they're fond of Rascal and genuinely don't want to disappoint him, but they say, I can't. There's too much for me here that I need to do, but when the time comes for you to leave, I'll be there to send you off.
Okay. But you better have like all sorts of advice and like lesson plans and stuff for me to take.
Don't worry, I absolutely will.
Because, like, yeah, I mean, you know, I kind of need someone being like, Rascal, don't summon the world-shaking powers of creation to make a sandwich.
Don't worry.
That's like bad to do for some reason.
Shit.
Marius says in a very dry voice, don't worry, I can definitely fulfill that for you.
Okay.
It would be a real good sandwich.
Okay. And, hey, Eddie! And I tap my little paws against the keystone.
Yes?
Can I take your rock and put you on my boat like a cool ghost?
Well, I don't see what's stopping you.
I
I don't think I could do anything to stop you.
You're like, I guess, may I? Would you like me to? Sorry, prescriptivist. Do you want to like see the whole world now that you're like a cool rock?
Oh my god. It all comes full circle.
I was going to say it's coming back to the Echo game.
You know, I never had much interest in seeing the world, but Marius knows they have things to do here. Then perhaps there isn't much point in me staying around to chide them.
Rascal like turns and like looks at Marius with big old eyes.
Full Puss in Boots mode.
I'd like you to stay, but I'm not going to stop you. And they start taking... Because I don't think it was the keystone, I think it was the mezuzah that we bound him to, and Marius starts taking the mezuzah down and hands it to Rascal and says, "Please just visit every once in a while."
Oh yeah, all the time. We're gonna
He's
bring
not leaving
like,
yet!
we're not leaving yet, but also, you know, we're gonna be like going out and getting treasures, right? And incredibly interesting people, right? And we're going to bring them back to the City of Goals, right? And we're going to make this place kind of like the hotspot. Everywhere we go, we say, "Hey, you think we're cool? We got this place back home. It's called the City of fucking Goals. It's called maybe Reskull eventually. And you should come and check it out and like patronize our businesses and stuff." And then, you know, go and see Marius. Thank the gods for small favors. Thank the gods for Marius because they're such a cool person. And you're gonna be like rolling in it. And Rascal does like the little like cash, like you're gonna emotion. Like this place is gonna boom. We're gonna be like what's the word? Ambassadors.
I think Marius looks genuinely touched and says, "I look forward to it."
All right, but you get to decide which of the daughters I'm gonna stick you on the ship.
Hang on a minute. If you're taking me, where's XV?
That's a good question. Where's XV?
I was kind of wondering if that was the button to the scene, but if you have more to do, we could.
Oh
make
sure.
that
I mean,
decision.
we could. That could be a button if we want to leave that to the vignette. I just realized that I wasn't going to be able to speak during the vignettes, so I needed to speak to
I
everybody.
had to get all your fucking dialogue out.
Yeah.
Am I cutting it off too soon? Was there more that needed to be resolved?
Not unless you think XV has. I mean, so I talked to Juniper, talked to Marius, I talked to Keys, I talked to Edward. Unless XV would also like to join the crew, which would be kind of. But you're both on the crew.
So I was trying to leave it open to XV will either stay and grow honeyberries or go and help find Keys' memories.
Mm-hmm. Well, we could always put a honeyberry planter on the ship.
That's fun.
Mhm. You know, like a quartermaster or a ship's cook. You could be like our Sanji.
This feels like a One Piece reference.
XV, do you know karate?
It is a
Yeah.
One Piece reference. I don't even fucking know One Piece, and I know it's a One Piece reference.
Sanji Vinsmoke, the fucking kick boy man.
God, this boat is going to have to be so fucking big.
Yeah, it's a ship. It's a ship. It's like a galley or something.
No Standing Stones podcast has ever had a big boat full of a motley crew.
This isn't even the first time on this podcast.
Yep.
What is it about versions of
Alright.
Rascal that need to assemble a massive ship and fill it with motley people?
It's just the children, they yearn for the sea, for the horizon.
It's true.
Very good.
So,
All right.
I will note that the rules do say that if we don't feel like drawing a card for the finale and just want to do vibes for the finale vignettes, we can do that, or we can draw a card and see what the card has in store for us. But honestly, I'm not 100% sure that any of the finale suits necessarily fit where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of advocating for us to just wing it.
Sure.
I love to wing.
Chicken wings.
I may still draw a card.
Yeah. So the person with the most drama points goes first, which looks like Zach and I are currently tied for.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to ignore the fact that I drew a card,
Okay.
Okay.
because I forgot about that.
Oh, you're good.
Since Zach just went, do we want to start off with Jade?
Sure. All right. Well, I think this first vignette we see in silence is Rascal laying out, explaining to Juniper just how big a boat this is going to be, and her nodding and understanding, and then going to get utterly wasted, or as wasted as she can get, because that was not. She did not realize it was going to be that big of a project. It's like, oh, okay. That's it. That's the vignette. just like doesn't let into like no. She's not shooting anything down. Just like writing this down. Okay, I'm gonna go get on that. Cut to a bar. Cut to the Monkey's Uncle franchise at City of Goals.
Uh-huh. And then we got to Juniper the next day as Rascal has convinced Perihelia to he's like in big mode, and he is like making sandcastles, like a sandcastle in the shape of a shipyard, and then he like gives her a thumbs up, and she like melts it all into like crystal,
Baller.
so that we actually have like a solid foundation to build on.
Incredible.
And he like he like looks like at Juniper and like big grin, big thumbs up, as like, oh yeah, this place is full of crazy nonsense. Who's the next?
Or let's say August, looping round.
Sure. So I think this is probably a little later. Marius is actually putting up decorations that they've never put up before, and it is a holiday that those in Anakar used to observe. Marius has never observed it up until this point. It's very odd, but that is what they're doing a little bit later.
Yeah, quick one for XV. This is as we're still preparing. And Mac, if you're okay with it, I think XV has borrowed one of Keys's journals.
Yeah, sure.
is cross-referencing like where the memories could possibly be based on these notes. And we can see in the journal that it's branched out to narrow down to absolutely anywhere in the universe.
Yeah, straight up. I kind of want to save mine for last because I have an idea for where to leave this.
The whole of it.
To leave off the
Done.
episode.
Okay.
Alright,
Sure.
then
And I only have the one.
Yeah, no
so
this vignette is Juniper digging out from the depot a radio and doing something. You see her cutting between various people. You see her talking to Sable and Steady and to Sky and to all manner, and to Marius, maybe reluctantly, conferring with Zephyr. And we see her radioing the factory and just letting them know what's happening and that she will be coming back. There may be company. Please don't hurt them. Look, knowing who's down there, there are definitely a couple of people now in that factory who are very shoot first, ask questions later individuals, you know?
and I love them.
But yeah, I just love the notion of doing like effectively what like a Ouija board or a seance, but using an actual radio to do so, to talk. It's just very fun to me.
Oh yeah. Well, and I've got another vignette of Rascal continuing to just build this boat. He's had a lot of starts and stops over the years, but he is like actually focusing. He's got reasons to do this. He's always had this aimless feeling about like needing to get out and see the world, and now he's got reasons and people to see the world with. So like it comes together fast. Like he's like huge, like 15 feet tall, like putting them together like Lego bricks or blocks, or like a model kit. And sometimes he is like a tiny little cat, scurrying through the interiors with like a wrench or like a soldering iron or something, like putting together stuff and reading these manuals that he badgered Juniper to get him.
So I think this next vignette is Marius doing as they promised and writing up a bunch of like directives and stuff. Don't summon creation for a sandwich. Do pay your respects to Daddy Crab as you pass. That kind of thing.
Sorry. Really
Sorry,
funny.
Father Crustacean.
Yeah. Yes. But that kind of thing. Just doing as they had promised Rascal they would do.
I think this is XV consulting the Master Journal again. At this point, it's been far enough into the journey that the honeyberries have grown, and the wine has been made, and the short experiment that needed to be done was done, and the last of Chloe's original experiments has been crossed off of the list. But since Ed opened the box, letting Keys know that it wouldn't realize if new things were added, there are pages upon pages of new things that have been added into this journal of things left to do. It's go see this rock that we wanted to go explore. It's make Rascal a sandwich, crossed out, make Rascal a good sandwich.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then one that's the biggest and the boldest and has yet to be crossed off is learn what makes you happy.
Hell yeah.
This last vignette is Juniper showing Marius how the radio works. and they've built another one, so Marius can keep in contact with the boat, and the boat can keep in contact with them. And we see from a distance Juniper talking once more with Sable and with Steady, and she's drawn a map as best she can of how to find the factory should they need assistance, or should they decide that building a bridge is the best way to go.
And the boat shoves up. We've got this crazy boat. It's like wood frame with like metal bands of like reinforcements. It's got the like cabin is like built around a train engine. And it's got, there's probably no sails. It's probably like real ass like propellers. And we see Rascal and Steady like carrying it into the water. Rascal in like super big mode, and Steady just he can just
steady, yeah.
Yeah. And we like place it into the water, and like it stays, and like there's a big crowd of people on the shore who are like watching, and maybe they cheer as Rascal like jumps into the air and shrinks into normal size as he like lands, and points out at the horizon, and we begin to go underway, and there is nowhere we cannot go.
Yeah, I was gonna say one little and also I'm using to add to this is what Sky gives everyone, gives the boat, because I was just thinking about power sources and what this boat runs on. And I think it is a tiny fire elemental that they have brought to life to keep your engines warm and to keep your propellers moving. Because at their heart, they are still an entity about freedom and of flame. And just a little tiny calcifer to live in the boat's engine and keep it going.
Oh, yeah.
This final vignette for Marius is, I think, them talking to Zephyr/Annabelle, depending on how they're feeling at the moment. And there's no dialogue here in this vignette, but they're talking about the afterlife. Because if the afterlife exists and that's where Juniper's from, what do they do with that information?
One more from Schrag, and then Matt grounding us out.
I am gonna spring forward for my last vignette, long into our voyage. And one day when we do return to the City of Gulls one time, we leave a package for Marius before we shove off again. And it's one of XV's filled journals with all kinds of observations and notes. It's a case of honeyberry wine, and it's the mezuzah, because Ed eventually gets homesick.
I'm jumping back again. Back to when we shove off for the beginning of the voyage. And I think what Keys does is that before we leave, it goes up to the lighthouse. Sable and Steady are not there because they're down at the shore. And Keys goes up from the first to the second to the third floor, just below the light. And on the bookshelves on the third floor, it runs a finger along the top and finds a set of journals. The journals don't belong to Keys, but they are written in a code that Keys understands. And it smiles and takes the journals, looks up, and the lighthouse illuminates. And as they leave, as the boat shoves off from shore, Juniper can hear the sound of a train whistle sound. And that's it.
Good shit. Let us outro, my loves.
Hello. Hi. We've been FTL. I've been Mac. You can find me on the internet at Citadel of Swords. I'll be posting some stuff about some projects down the line. So look out for those.
I've been August. You can still find me on Tumblr at Strange Harpy, on Bluesky at harpydora.bsky.social or whatever it is, on itch at harpydora. And yeah, this is whew.
This might be the nicest a City of Gulls game has ever ended.
Yeah, for sure.
Schrag.
All right, I have been Schrag. Thank you very much for having me back. It is always very fun to play game.
Game good.
You can still find me on the internet at The Secret Frog, various places. Yeah.
Zach.
Hello, I've been Zachary Frederickson, found online at Obfuscating God, at Zachary Olston on Blue Sky. I'm buggrate.bandcamp.com for music. Thank you all for indulging my manic catboy.
I love him so much.
Always.
And I have been Jade. I can still be found at j.rose, most places on the internet. And we will return to the City of Gulls and see if we can finally sort out that death problem. I hope you'll join us in Season 9.